Because we get taught to perform things. If I show up this way, this person shows up this way, we made this commitment and we're going to write it on out. And y'all are calling that love. So I think it just starts with the definition of dating. I do think that in the current dating market, the fact that women still don't know how to date is the biggest problem in the dating market. And I think that's why oftentimes it sucks that it feels like, hey, we're picking on women, or the conversations are picking on women. But truthfully, I said this before, like, if you're the person who needs the most help, it makes sense to give you the most attention, right? Because you're the ones who complain the most about not having the good outcomes when it comes to dating. And then sometimes guys will try to give you advice, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But it's just the intention is there. It's still love, right? But the thing is like, and to be honest, like, even some of the advice shows that niggas don't be knowing how to date for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, and why are they dating? You know what I mean? Because if dating for marriage, a lot of guys aren't. You know what I'm saying? Dating for vagina? Absolutely. So dating to pass the time? Of course. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it's bigger because it is showing up in the dysfunction. And unless women are willing to say, you know what? Maybe there's something I can do differently. I can do better. Yes, we can discern better. I can pick better, right? Let me learn how to date, because even when you pick the right guy, you might just turn him off because it's not automatic that you're showing up in a way he's going to desire you. I'm not saying you're not showing up in your authentic self, but like, there's an art to it. There's women who know how to put a little perfume in certain places, who know how to, move their shoulder a little bit. There's a little game to it, right? And I'm not even saying nothing wrong with a little bit of game, but some of y'all, a lot of y'all don't have it. Sorry, you know what I'm saying? The drop in the handkerchief shit is not a thing. Matter of fact, today's women don't want you to do nothing for her, let alone for her to purposefully drop your handkerchief to allow you to be a man in her presence. Think about that for a second. Like, where does that exist in today's dating environment? Or is that too patriarchal? Right? Or you don't want to get into that bag because you don't want to be submitted. Whatever, man. Like, come on, man. This, on top of the fact that you're not even taught how to date, you are taught things that are probably counterproductive to, you guessed it, dating. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, the idea that a guy can't even show up with flowers in 2026 without being some type of herb or whatever. Really? Really? Wow. So yeah, excuse us if brothers are, evolving to the style of dating that y'all claim that y'all want. You know what I'm saying? Even though y'all have no clue what the hell y'all doing. But go ahead, S&M. I see you want to get in there.
Actually, I was going to see what Devin had to say on this topic really quickly.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think it's true on both sides. I mean, what I do personally as a girl dad, so I have a personal vested interest in the way this dating thing plays out, is to be that example. And Nick, I think you touched on it earlier. A lot of people emulate what they see, like, at least to the best of their ability. And if they don't see shit, and like, well, I'll just do what my friends do, or I'll go listen to some R&B and try to recreate that and hope that shit works out. And it ends up being a mess. But as parents, I try to show an example how her and her mom interact, take her out on dates, and don't, bullshit. Like the same conversations we have on the podcast. Like, I talk to my daughter this way, and she thinks it's hilarious. My wife hates it, but she thinks it's hilarious, and I just be straight with her and say, listen, I'm talking to you not just as your dad, but as a man. And this is things to look out for. That whole discernment piece. All I can give you is all the discernment I've accumulated and I've observed, and how it's worked out for women in various stages of dating and interacting with men. And hopefully you will, absorb a lot of this. But if not, then, there are going to be some heartbreak and some things along the way. But just managing her expectations and be clear about what she wants and what to look out for. Again, that whole scouting and spotting talent. What are you looking out for? What's important to you? And that's going to change over time. So I just told her, things may not work out. First boyfriend might break your heart. Don't beat yourself up. There's going to be some bumps along the way. Dating is a contact sport and everybody's going to get touched. So just, have the best experiences that you can. And, when you need a shoulder to cry on or something doesn't work out, or even great things, you know what? I'm here for you and we're going to talk about it. That's my little contribution to trying to make dating great again for Black women.
So
I have one in my house.
So this conversation is interesting to me for two reasons. One, I actually grew up with a very strict household as well. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even allowed to date until I was 18, which told me my mother set me up for failure. Because, and I say failure, even though I've been married for so long, because to be honest, when I got out there, I didn't know how to date because it was like, okay, I've snuck and had a boyfriend and realized he was batshit crazy. And my first thought was, oh, this is because I didn't honor my mother and father because I grew up super religious and I was like, this why this dude was batshit crazy. And so for me, it was like there are things and red flags that we should have talked about. There are things that we should have had conversations about, but the only thing we had conversation about was don't get pregnant. And it was like, okay, well, how can I get pregnant if I'm not having sex? Well, don't have sex. Okay, but I'm not having sex because I'm not allowed to date anyways. And in my particular case, my mother I have 4 brothers. My mother would make sure my brother is with me at all times. One of my brothers was with me for the most part because that's how paranoid she was for her own reasons that had to do with her trauma as a child, right? And so with that being said, I think that in our community, because I also grew up very religious, where in the church, they did teach us about how to submit to a man, they said how to get a man, but it wasn't really how to get a man. It was how to keep the man. And of course, it involved cooking, cleaning, and submission, right? Which is fine for, especially for that particular generation, or fine for however you want to show up. But one of the things that we don't talk about is society pressure. We're making it seem like it's so easy for Black women or Black girls to date when we already recognize that Black girls are viewed as more sexual at an early age, or some people are aware that Black girls are viewed as more sexual as young as 8. And let's not forget, in our community, if we see a Black girl with 2 or 3 different dudes over a course of a month, we already calling her a hoe. So now we got society pressures saying that, oh, she's a hoe if she's seen with too many folks or too many guys. But at the same time, we're telling her she needs to date. And they don't know how to date. I agree with Jay in this particular case where the Black girl was raised for survival. Like we were raised and taught to survive, right? We weren't raised and taught to learn interpersonal skills. It was all about go to school, get your degree, get a job. If you find a man along the way, that's great. If not, that's okay because you fall back on your career, you fall back on your job, you fall back on your education and so forth. And that's part of it as well. So we have societal expectations and then our own community expectations that are placed unrealistically on young girls who are called fast when they're looking, or even if they ask questions, oh, she fast, oh, she hot in the pants. So we have to have that conversation as well when we talk about Black women not knowing how to date. There's so many other aspects to this to me that is not just a simple fact of, oh, we don't know how. And it's true. In most cases, we don't because our community itself does not lend itself to teach us that. We just got done talking about how Clinton Powell didn't even learn how to love till he was 69. You know what? The first thing my mother told me about men was don't get pregnant. And as a matter of fact, to be honest, and this is going to be too much information, but hey, we family, love, love. When I got my cycle, I didn't know what the hell it was. Why the hell did I not know what my cycle was? And this is because I was young and I ain't hit sex ed yet. But my mother never talked to me about it because there are some things that particular generation wasn't comfortable having conversations with their daughter about. And so that's another reason because they too didn't learn how to date. So now you got young bucks, young children sneaking out, right? Dating because they see their peers dating. They expect that. They see it in cartoons and in the Nickelodeon at night and stuff where they're always seeing male and female relationships. So they are modeling the behavior that they see without recognizing that may not actually be what's needed, especially as an adult. And so I'm going to agree. Black women don't know how to date. I think the Black community in general don't understand the concept of dating because it wasn't presented to us in a manner that we could actually truly model because of our own circumstances within the community.
I do want to say one quick thing, and you kind of mentioned it in passing. The whole thing about the only thing a lot of girls learned, was don't get pregnant. That actually was a spectacular success because teen pregnancy is almost virtually zero. So that piece of the dating advice did work to spectacular success.